9. A howl in the night. Your family, said Rupert. What do you mean? Why would you howl to your family? I wondered what to tell him. I got separated from my parents when the bombs started dropping in the forest. I met a pack of dogs, and well, we have been together ever since. Um, I'm sort of the leader. Rufus' eyes went wide. The dogs were lost too, and we became a family. I realized how silly the story sounded and waited for him to tell me he didn't believe me. That's so cool, he said. I was relieved he didn't think I was crazy. So where are they now? Said Rufus. My smile fell away. I didn't know. I don't know, I said. I last saw them a long way back down the road, at the place where I was taken. That could have been the last time I've ever seen them. As soon as the word left my mouth, as soon as the words left my mouth, I felt an awful heaviness in my chest, and a lump started to raise in my throat. So I said, change the subject. What's your story? Rufus shrugged and looked at the floor. Not much of a story, I guess. I played a lot of video games, never had a brother or a sister, and I have always been awful at sport. I can remember a bit of my parents talking about trouble coming, but they didn't really believe it, and I was too busy playing games to pay much attention. Rupert gave a little smile that quickly turned sad. So it was all a bit of a surprise when the soldiers came to Monville and rounded everyone up into trucks, he said. You're from Monville? Hey, why? I'm from Fairwood. We were pretty much neighbors, I said. Saying my hometown's name for the first time in 4 years felt strange, like it was now on another planet. Rupert seemed to be thinking the same. After a while, he frowned. I'm sorry about the other kids, by the way, for the way they acted last night. It's okay, I said. I wasn't trying to make fun of you when I howled, said Rupert. You were really bad at it, I said. Rupert started straightened up. Wasn't that bad, was it? I chuckled. Rufus opened his mouth and started howling. It was terrible. Ooh, cough, cough, ooh. It, it has to come from deep inside your stomach. I inhaled a great lungful of air and puffed up my chest. I thrust back my shoulders, opened my mouth, and unleashed a howl into the night. Ooh! As I howled, I heard something outside that made me snunk the air back into and choke. An answering howl. It sounded like, but it couldn't be. Quickly, quick as a flash, I sprang up to the window and looked outside. There looked up at me was there looking up at me was my pack. As soon as they saw me, their tails started wagging hard enough to knock rocks off the pile. Zip ran in circles. Tiny's tongue longed out in a big ring. Bruce gave a happy whine, and Sunrise just stared at me, meaningful. How do we get to you? Sunrise seemed to ask. A shadow flashed across the bars and almost startled me into losing my grip. Eagle landed beside the dogs. They were all here. They had found me. I couldn't believe it. My worry that I would never see them again vanished, only to reply by now worries. How are we all going to get out of here? I pulled my head away from the window, listening, wondering if the commotion had woken Baldy. But no, his snoring continued. Eagle, I said in a low voice, can you bring me Tiny? Eagle choked her head at the little dog. The two of them had worked together in the past during hunts or when Tiny couldn't make a jump across a stream. But the cell window was much higher than any boost Eagle had ever given Tiny before. Could they do it? Did they even understand what I wanted? The big bird stared down at the little dog with her piercing eyes. Tiny looked at Eagle, looked at me, then ran around in circles. Eagle moved her head. Could that have been a nod? Then raised a claw and took him by the scruff of his neck. She began to beat her wings. Tiny looked down at his paws, left the ground, then looked back up at the window. Together they rose into the air. I stuck my hand out the window. It was difficult for Eagle to hover near the window. Her wings were wide enough that the tip of them kept brushing the walls. I rushed out as far as I could, crushing my knees against the bars. Tiny's worried eyes went past. Dropped him in my hands, I grunted. A moment later, a soft weighted landed in my palms and I closed my fingers. I had caught Tiny. I pulled him through the bars and dropped back down into the cell. Tiny immediately leapt all over me. He jumped at my face and licked me frantically. I laughed and hugged him. I missed you, I told him. I realized Rufus was staring at us with wonder. From his cell, he had just seen a dog fly into the window. How did he get up here? He said. Oh, I forgot to tell you, I said happily, squeezing Tiny's silly face. I have an eagle too. 10. Click. I stretched Tiny behind. I scratched Tiny behind his ears as I thought about the key to my cell hanging over the deck in Baldy's office. Over the years, I had developed a way to communicate with the dogs, a mixture of speaking and mimicking. Sometimes we just sensed each other's needs. I remembered a time back when we were still camping at the abandoned cars. One day I had found Tiny standing over a locked suitcase. He could smell something inside. I had hunted around the cars nearby and eventually found a key in a glove box. Tiny had watched with keen instant as I put it in the lock and turned it. Click, I had said. Inside the suitcase was a big bag of pork crackles. I gave the crackles to Tiny and didn't think much more of it. Now I wondered if I could use this. I picked Tiny up and took him to the cell door. I held him up so he could see the lock and then mimicked turning a key in it. Click, I said. Tiny's ear pricked up. You need a click? He looked this way and that. I pointed off down the corridor. The click is down there, but you have to be. I handled my finger up to the lip, a sign. I thought the dog for hunting quiet. I set Tiny on the floor and he squeezed through the bars and scuffled off down the corridor, his radar ears swiveling.